So if I put this ESC here, we're going to need this amount of wiring. So always give yourself a little extra. See, pluses on this side, minuses on this side, and our signal's right here in the middle. Now let me see. Let's move this. Let's leave it there. Let's see. As far as routing, and I think that's going to be okay. So we'll just go up here, and we're going to go same thing with this one. Now the other thing is we're going to take this black wire because we don't need it, and I'm going to unwrap it, a couple wraps, and I'm going to cut it down here. But I am going to leave a little bit, and we'll cover that with the heat shrink. All right, and we will snip this. Snip this, little twist, and we will snip this, little twist. All right, next step we got here, make sure the tip is nice and clean. Now we're going to prep everything. We're going to solder the wire. Now as you start getting to these bigger wires, you're going to need a little more heat. So you might have to stay on the wire longer. These little ones are much quicker. Alright, now we're going to prep the pad. I'm just going to keep the heat on, feed the solder in, make sure it goes evenly around the pad. Same thing on the negative. Make sure we're all over. And then we got signal 1, 2, 3, 4. This arm is signal 4, but it says S4 right there. We're going to put a little solder in there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my ceramic tweezers, and I like these ceramic tweezers because they give me a little bit of heat protection with my hand. And we're going to double check. This is positive. So it's positive right there. Always check. When you're hooking up these positive and negative lines, always double, triple check. It's never going to be a bad thing to do that. And we're going to put it on top. And we're going to heat the solder up and get a good joint. There we go. Got a good melt, good joint. Same thing on this side. We're going to melt this in. Alright, good joint. And we're going to take our signal line. Now don't worry about all this. It doesn't look great, but we will fix it. And I'm going to go around this way. Let's get this a little tighter. And boom. Now we're on the signal line. So there we go. Now these wires will tuck down in here. Once we go to finalizing this and getting it all sealed up. Alright, I'm going to do the other three, and we will be right back. Alright, and we're back. So, what you can see so far is I got all 4 ESCs connected in the same way that I just showed you. Alright, I have the heat shrink placed over to protect all the connections before we can check this and make sure that everything's okay. I'll shrink it once we know we're good. The last thing we're going to do in this part is connect the receiver to where it needs to be so we can get these wires kind of cleaned up, and connect the XT60 and the capacitor. Okay, we're going to start with the receiver. Now these are the antennas. Obviously don't cut your antennas. And we got ground, power, and signal. Now again, they only need to go here, but I'm still going to leave some extra because I want to be able to actually work with it. So I'm going to cut it up here. Now these wires, being as small as they are, should be able to just pull. That's the beauty of silicone wire. You can just kind of, get your nail in there and pull it apart. Alright, so got those 3 wires stripped and prepped. I recommend you get one of these boxes, right? 24 gauge wire. This way you always have silicone wire to use, because silicone wire is the best. Alright, let's look at the back of this pad here. Now, when I look at these top rows right here, there's 2 rows of words silk screened on. On this bottom piece here, we have S-bus, so we'll prep that. We have 5 volt, and we have ground. Beautiful. Now we'll prep the wires. These little wires are nice and quick. Try not to burn your antennas. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Take my tweezers and I'll start from, let's see, ground. I always try to work in towards myself or wherever my iron isn't going to cross and touch other things. Again, it's stuff you learn as you go and as you get better. All right, power and signal, S-bus. All right, now that's looking pretty clean. We can tuck that down. Awesome. So ultimately, this is looking pretty clean. And now I'll take these antennas once we're all buttoned up, and I'll get them coming out this way with a zip tie. So that'll be pretty cool. So they're there. We're just going to leave these. I'm just going to tuck these up under here for now so they're out of the way. I like to do the antennas and all that mounting stuff at the very end. Alright. Now, the XT60, okay, you got to pay attention to what direction you want to put this, because if you have a top battery mounted frame or a bottom battery mounted frame, you kind of want to make sure this is in the right place. Now, I have a top mounted frame. I could have mounted this directly on, but I chose to put a little bit of wire because I think it's better, honestly. It just gives it a little bit of shock relief, and I just think it's ultimately better. So we want it this way, and if we look here, we got negative and positive. So we got negative and positive. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do it like this, with a little bit of angle. And what I'm going to do is, because these holes are so big, I'm actually going to fill in the holes. Now, we need to get this up in here with this. This white streak is negative. Okay, so keep that in mind. Negative, and then your side without the streak is positive. So, let's see, we got this right. And if you hook up your capacitor wrong, it will explode. And I'm not exaggerating. Let's see if we can get all this right. See if I can get this at the same time. I don't know, it's going to fight me. Tell you what we'll do, we're going to have to fill this in and then add the capacitor in, because, I don't know, let's see. Alright, let's prep this wire. Now, these XT6, these 12, these are probably 14 gauge. They definitely need a lot more heat and a little more solder, so you're going to have to hang with them a little longer. Let that solder really flow. Alright, I like to check both sides. See, it's starting to get through. Well, we'll just give it a little extra on this side just to make sure. Alright. It's ugly. Just kind of cleaning up. Get my tip clean. Alright. So now we're going to stick this in. Remember, plus is red, plus is plus. Red, you know, red is plus, alright? Red is plus, black is negative. You don't want to mess that up. And we're going to check that again. But alright, you can see how I have that. And now what I'm going to do is literally just fill this hole with solder until we get it completely filled up. and paste it over. This is going to take a good amount of solder and some heat. Alright, let's see, we are almost there. Let's get it around. And move the iron around and get it all kind of wet at once. And then pull off, and boom, that's going to be a solid joint. That ain't going anywhere. Alright, same thing over here. We'll add some solder. Now I'm going to work from the little piece of wire. I'm going to work out, and I'm kind of just going to pull it out and add my solder in. That should be enough. Let's get the heat all the way around. Boom. Pull. See, it was like loose and pulled, and then I pulled away, and see how shiny? It's very shiny. It's very, you can obviously tell that that's connected very well. And then I'll take my snips and I'll snip that flush. We'll get to that. Alright, now, let's see how we're going to do this. I want to put this on top. Again, negative like this. I'm going to stick this in the hole. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to fill this in and make a nice solid joint to where this can't go nowhere. Okay. Now this, for the capacitor, it doesn't have to be so full or complete. You just want to get a very good melt to the pad, and then it should all connect up. All right. There we go. We got the capacitor on there. We got the XT60 on there. Now what I'll do is I'll take these and we'll snip that little bit extra off so it's a little bit flatter, and boom. There we go. Now the next step I'm going to do, and this is something someone else showed me, my friend of mine, that hopefully you'll get to see on my channel. But I'm going to take a little strip of this. This is the extra piece of heat shrink that came with the Maytech. So if you follow this build along, you will have this extra piece, possibly, if you don't mess it up. Alright, and I'll slip it over the whole thing. Now once you shrink that, it'll kind of help hold the capacitor in place. Right? So let's kind of let's move this in here, and you can kind of get an idea. Let's make sure everything is okay. That is in. Where is this? Why is this not going in? Oh, it's not going in because of this. Like I said, I'll have nuts on here, so we won't have to fight with that. Okay, there we go. We should be nice and good. Beautiful. All right, that's it for this part. Tune back in for the next part, where we get the camera system wired up and get it turned on and go from there. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.